Hello everyone and welcome back to Soul Stained Ink. My name is Beth, and yes, I have some crazy hair. So today is Wednesday, February 1st, which is important for two reasons. Number one, it is one of my best friend's birthdays. Molly, she's a baby. I turned 32 in a week and a day, and she just turned 23. I make fun of her a lot for it, but she is a great person to work with at school. She's a third grade teacher, and I'm just so glad that I've got to know her over the past several months. So she probably will never see this video, but shout out to Molly. My daughter and I love her to death. She's an amazing person. I'm so glad she's in my life. The other reason that today is important is because it is a Wednesday, which means it's time for a little bit of a writing chat. Since Manuscript Mondays have kind of taken over for letting you know what I'm working on, I have decided, as you probably noticed, that Writing Wednesdays are going to be all about things I've already completed or outlining processes or things of that nature. I am currently working on ideas for people who don't want to write professionally. I've had a couple of requests for things like how do you get yourself to write if you're not aiming to get published. And so far, the only advice I have is you take a piece of paper and you take a pen and you write, or you start on the computer. Like I'm so much of a writer. I constantly carry at least one, usually 2 to 3 notebooks, plus a bag full of colored pens, sometimes even note cards, post-it notes, everything constantly, whether it's a story I think needs to be written for publishing or not, I've got stuff to write it. So that's a very difficult topic for me to work on, but I am working on that. I promise. I know I told you I would, and I'm gonna. But today, I'm going to talk to you about something a little bit different, and that is Paulonious Punk and the Search for an Adventure, which is the first book in my Paulonious Punk adventure series. I'm sorry, I've had a really long day. Adventure series that is a children's chapter book series, like upper children's, lower middle grade, basically. The protagonist is a 9-year-old boy named Paulonious Punk. Shocker. And I actually came up with the idea for this story while I was on the potty. I know, right? Just Beth has gone crazy. I can't believe she's talking about this. But there's paneling and things, and so I kind of let my eyes go lax for a second, and in the paneling, I saw one of the knots kind of turn into an old man, a pirate ship, some cliffs, kids, a baby carriage, just all sorts of things. And a couple of lines popped into my head. So about 3 minutes later, I'd written those lines down. My child said something to me, and I called her a prattling punk. And then I was like, "You prattling punk. Huh. If you'd have been a boy, I could have just named you prattling punk. No, I should have named you Polonious. Polonious punk. Polonious punk searches for an adventure at the story." And then I, of course, was writing it down, and she was like 2.5 at the time, 3, something like that. It was like, Mama's gone crazy, hasn't she? Somebody save me. But I wrote it down really quickly, and then I all of a sudden just had like a summary in my mind about it, which never happens. Like, I get basics, but I typically start the story and get a chapter or two in, and then I'm like, okay, this is where I'm going. No, I had the whole summary in my head. Everything just was pouring out, and it made me so excited. My writing process is that I write it by hand and then I type it up, which effectively gives me my first edit. So it takes me from my first draft to my second draft. And then I will go through about a week later after I've had some time to cool off from the excitement and the extreme love of whatever I just wrote. So a week or two later, I'll go back and do an overall edit, and then I will let my mom typically and whoever else wants to read go through and read it, and she does like another overall pass at it to let me know if everything is continuous and blah blah blah. She's also my illustrator, so she has to read the story so she knows what's going on. She's a very talented artist, uh, but she hates everything she does, and it takes forever for me to get anything out of her. But moving on. So she read it. She loved it. There were a couple of places I needed to fix. And then I gave it to her and another beta reader. The other beta reader's computer crashed. And once she got everything back up and running, she was so busy, she didn't have time for me to send her another copy. So my mom is the only beta reader I've had for Paulonious Punk, unless you count the kids ranging from 3rd grade to 8th grade who have heard me read snippets of what I was working on out loud while I was still working on the first draft. If you count them, I've had about 40 to 50 beta readers in the 8 to 14 age range, and only one of them had something bad to say about it. And that one would have something bad to say about being handed $1 million. So I'm pretty proud of the story. Of course, I was their substitute teacher or regular teacher at the time, so that could have something to do with it. And my mom's the other reader. But I'm still really, really proud of the story. I think it's one of the best things I've done. And basically, it is about this little boy who is 9. And in his family, um, the heritage that you get, your heirloom, is not passed down to you when you're 21 or when your parents die or whatever. Every child in the direct lineage gets this at the age of 7, and they have until the next child turns 7 with their heritage, which is a large chest full of journals that are the adventures of all of their ancestors, and one blank journal for them to fill with their adventures. And then when the next child turns 7, their journal goes on the pile, and the whole thing goes to the next 7-year-old. And so Paulonious is 9. His little sister is turning 7 in 2 weeks. And he, his best friend, and his grandpa Punk decide that they are going to go on a search for a grand adventure so that Paulonious can fill in his journal. Along the way, there are pirates. There are maybe some ghostly things that happen. There are cliff faces, climbing rocks, falling off a mountain. There's all sorts of things that happen to Paulonious and John and Grandpa Punk. And it's not only an adventure, but it also kind of teaches a few short little lessons in the meantime. I love it, obviously. I think it's amazing. It's one of the things that I'm really, really proud of. And I'm actually considering sending it to some publishers. So I've been considering it for a while. It's been finished for about a year, and I have not done the final edit and put it up on Kindle because I keep thinking, well, I'm going to query that, but I don't know how to do query letters, and I always think I've done them terribly, and I'm just so afraid, so anxious about basically everything right now that I haven't done it. But I am hoping to get the courage and, slap myself, not in the face, but slap myself into some sort of excitement again and get it queried, because I really think that this is a book that kids would like to read. But anyway, that is Paulonious Punk in the Search for an Adventure. And I am currently working, though not very diligently, on Paulonious Punk in the Cruise Ship Conundrum, which is the second book in the series. So I've only got about 6 to 10, somewhere in there, chapters on it. They're very short chapters, and typically 20 to 24, I believe. Kind of like the Magic Treehouse books, where you have anywhere from 24 to 50 chapters, but they're like 3 pages per chapter. Something the kids can easily read, but still feel like they're really getting into the story and they're getting a full story out of it. Anyway, I'm prattling on some more, aren't I? I'm just going to go ahead and sign off. It's already 8:30 at night. I'm going to get this uploaded so it's actually on a Wednesday. You guys are getting prattling, mind all over the place, silly old Beth, but I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about Paulonious Punk or any of the other things I've written, please feel free to ask me. Come talk to me in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well as comment. And until next time, I hope that you read something good and write something better. Good night.